Hi everyone, all the volunteers and whoever has joined in today. So we all know that this year has been a very big challenge for all of us. This pandemic going on, the fear, anxiety involved, it has been very challenging for all of us. And especially for us students, the online classes are something that is adding on to the stress right now. So to get through all of these tough times, we have organized this webinar. So we have with us Dr. Gopinath K. Uh, he is he's an Ayurveda and yoga consultant and a lifestyle management expert. So he'll be giving a webinar on this topic. So we hope that you guys ask questions, interact with him, and try to make the best of this webinar. So I welcome you, Dr. Gopinath K, sir. So we hope that we take in a lot of information from this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Diksha. Good afternoon, one and all. It's my pleasure to share my few of my views. First of all, I need to thank the whole team of NSS Rama Institute of Technology in this tough time. It is really to get right information with respect to, in particular, to health. So, as you all of you know, health is a most integral part of our life. Without that, we are not supposed to achieve anything. Whatever the goal we set, we need to have that basic foundation of health. With that only, we can beautifully construct a castle. With that, we can succeed in our life. With respect to this, my multi-perspective views on the health I'll be presenting. Give me a moment. Okay, so the heading of this today's topic is Rethink, Reinvent, and Reset. Just I'm sharing few of the positive informations with respect to health to you. And with this aspect, we have to accept the factors. Most of the factors we need to respect. Unless we accept the factor, it is very difficult to carry it further to explore the positivity of that information by reinventing, analyzing whatever the information shared, and with that we are resetting, we are rebooting ourselves with respect to the health part, with particularly health part. Okay, now let us basic information of understanding of this health. Let us get informed. Basically, WHO, the World Health Organization, defines health as four dimensions: physical health, mental health, emotional health, and social health. And of late, it is seriously debating on including one more dimension of our existence, that is called spiritual health. Briefly, I will come to each and every part. Physical health, as you know, starting from cold fever kind of thing, any of the infections or any extreme diseases like cancers also, we need to prevent it, and also simultaneously, if it is unfortunately if it happened means we need to manage it effectively and we need to reverse, and with that we need to maintain normal physical health. Mental health also, there are hundreds of diseases mentioned in the form of anxiety, depression, all those things. Again, we need to reverse it with the aid of professionals or with our own mental strength, or with the of any of the medications, whatever. So we need to reverse and we need to manage good mental health. Emotional health also, emotion plays a lot in your routine, that normal maintaining that emotional health is also equally important. And simultaneously, the social, this is also we need to understand, because we are all social animals. We have certain boundaries, certain limitation with respect to society. Once it comes to society, we have certain limitation and boundaries. What is that boundaries and limitations? That is mainly our behavior, right? Like whatever the behavior we manage in our personal time and different situations, we behave differently. That normal behavior, mannerism or manners, whatever you call, that we need to manage effectively. That is called social health. Otherwise, if we behave in our own style or in our own personal time, what we behave in that aspect, if we behave, we people feel weird about us. With respect to that, social health is also equally important. Now, coming to spiritual health, see, the spiritual health is not something doing some puja or some, the religious activities or anything. What science believes is the spirituality is integral part of us, and we have that inner spirit within us. We need to cultivate it. We need to explore it. With that only, our whole health part, particularly all multiple existence, what we have, we will be completing with the exploring that spiritual part. It's quite difficult to understand this inclusion of spiritual part. I'll give an example. With that, you'll get a more better idea with the respect to spirituality. The just imagine, in the two sides of the road, there are two group of animals are passing. One is a group of human beings. Another side is a group of either sheep or goats. Just imagine, physically both the groups are totally healthy, and mentally also. Just imagine, both the groups are totally healthy. Emotionally, both the groups are healthy. Socially also, of course, these human beings, they are well behaved. They are following all the social discipline. The other group, the sheep or goats, they are also following that group discipline. They don't go wherever they want to. So they follow that group discipline. Within their limitation, they follow that social behavior also. Now, these panelists started to debate on the difference between these two groups. What exactly the difference between these human beings and the other group of animals. The all the four dimensions are same, but the difference is we have some extra intelligence and wisdom. Then why we have that extra intelligence and wisdom? It is not to get some name, fame, or wealth or anything. It is mainly to they concluded that there is some inherent spirit in us. We need to explore. We need to cultivate. With that, our whole health will be precisely maintained. That is how the conclusion. But officially including this spiritual dimension, it is still in the debate. As you know, how the world is running on the multiple. Once it comes to the spirituality, the religious and all those things comes, and there will be a lot of conflicts. It's quite difficult to make it accept to people, everybody. With respect to that, it is still in the hold, but it is serious thing we need to consider. With this example of the sheep or goats or animals, we can understand how we are different from other animals and how we are supposed to manage our health more effectively. Now, I'll come to our ancient science. We
Dr.
have,
Gopinath,
yes,
I'm sorry to interfere. We have someone
yeah,
else with us we'd like to welcome. So, NSS officer Dr. Puttubore Gowda sir is also with us today. So, I'd like to welcome him to this webinar. Welcome, sir. You can
welcome,
continue,
sir.
sir. Thank you.
Okay, yes. So, with respect to our ancient science, there are two invaluable gifts we have in the form of Ayurveda and yoga. Hmm. So, these both science. I call it as science only. It is 100% science. It is even beyond the science. Um, I can prove to any extent, any panelist with respect to this dimension, like particularly the science part. The Ayurveda is the very word, like maybe 5,000, 6,000 years before word, Vedic time only it has been introduced. And the one striking definition, what we are seeing in the screen, the I'll just read it. Samadosha samagnischa samadhatu malakriyaha prasanna atma indriyamanaha swasta ityabhidiyate. It is mentioned by Sushruta Samhita, that is one of the surgical aspect of Ayurveda, that explained in that particular scripture, uh, in the form of what we call in the explained. Above this, the next is the prasanna, the happy mind, and all the our sensory organs are in a pleasant mood. And above all these things, what the spirit, what we have inside, that also in a very balanced mood, that we precisely the health. What else we need? This is the basic foundation he has mentioned about the health. So this health part, vastly in a multi-dimensional way, it has been beautifully explained, and we can treat it. Is well established medical science, and it has multiple disease targeting aspect also. We can treat multiple diseases. Even the present COVID situation also, we have a very effective. There are a lot of debates going on whether to treat with the Ayurveda or not, but I am confidently telling here it is easily treatable, more effectively treatable with the Ayurveda approach. Now, I am giving very basic information about Ayurveda. It is a vast ocean we have actually, such a beautiful gift we have, in fact. And equally, the yoga, this is also another profound science we have in our culture. See, in yoga, we believe, in fact, believer is not believing, it is mentioned as five sheets of our existence. Our whole existence, the uh, from starting from physical existence, it is each and every part of our existence mentioned as five layers or five koshas, we call it as. First is called the gross physical structure, what we see, it is called Annamaya kosha or physical layer. And second is called the Pranamaya kosha or energy layer. In yoga, the energy is explained as there is certain amount of energy within us, and that biovital energy that keeps running in our body. It has mentioned that there are 72,000 channels, nadis in our body, that particular energy keeps running in the body, and that is the healthy status, we call it as. If there is any blockage, if there is any clog in the flow of that energy, we define it as disease. And next layer is called manomaya kosha or the mind. This is precisely the, as the modern science is also explaining, our thoughts, our emotions, and all our the the mental modulation, the negativity, positivity, the uncontrolled thoughts, all these are beautifully explained in the mental sheath, the Manomaya Kosha. And last but one sheath is called Vijnanamaya Kosha or intellectual layer. This is also, intellectuality is part of our mind, mind only, the intelligence, what you call it as. This intelligence also quite uh, important for a human being. It is considered as separate entity as it is lacking in other animals. And last layer is a very strange layer and very interesting layer. It is called happiness layer or bliss layer, we call it as. It is called Anandamaya Kosha. So this yoga, in particularly yoga modern science, what we call it as, Explains the treatment of our whole human existence with the 5 layers of the cultivation. The Annamaya Kosha, grossly, a lot of physical exercises, asanas, and multiple warm-up exercises, sukshma vayamas, all those things will cultivate our the physical layer. And next layer is called pranamaya kosha, that energy layer, that can the energy is expressed in the form of the breathing. Breathing is expression of our energy. It is called prana, the prana vayu. The by doing some pranayamas, varieties of breathing techniques, we can effectively manage this pranamaya or energy layer. Mind, this is the core strength of yoga, where yoga is nothing but end up with treating the mind only. There are multiple practices mentioned, the varieties of meditations, relaxation techniques, all those things will train our the mind layer. And the next layer is called Vijnanamaya Kosha, that is the intellectual sheath. This can be cultivated by getting the right information and applying that particular information in our routine. The positive intellectual layer. And then the last layer is Anandamaya Kosha, the bliss layer. See, we have certain birthrights. Happiness is our birthright. We are supposed to live here happily. That is what nature's order is. With respect to that, maintaining that happiness
Dr. Gopinath, Dr. Gopinath, sir, we are not able to hear you
Hello.
properly actually. Hello, can you hear us?
Hello. Are you
Yeah,
seeing
can you
slides?
hear? Yeah, yeah, we're able to see the
Yeah,
slides,
I,
but the audio, there is a lag.
oh my God.
Now we
Uh,
can't see the slide.
yeah, I have taken out.
Yeah.
Now, are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sure. Will give me a minute. Okay, may I know where we stopped contact?
Your voice is breaking again, actually.
Voice is breaking. Hello, are you hearing me now?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, sure. I will continue. This the last part is called bliss layer. Bliss layer cultivation is also integral part of our managing the health. And this bliss layer can be effectively managed with the one particular sect of yoga. We call it as karma yoga, the action in bliss. Whatever the activity we do, if we do it precisely, the without expecting any of the result, the um, result will fall on our lap. That is what nature's order is. This simple approach towards our activity that makes us totally happy. It's a very vast subject. That happiness analysis is a very huge subject. Of course, this is not the right time to discuss on all those things. Gently we come to the present scenario, the present challenge. Even though these are all very well known to us, just to remind as part of this presentation, The reminding is very much important. Whatever I have mentioned, it is a very integral part of our the present challenges we are supposed to manage. The As you know, it is a viral infection. It is mutated or in vitro. All those debates totally irrelevant for us. But our main focus is on how to manage. There are people to manage all those how it born, how it can be uh, um, corrupt with the other this one political issues and all those things. It is not at all relevant for us. Present thing is understanding the present scenario. That is, as you know, the most of the cases are mild to moderate symptoms we are seeing, and uh, umpteen number of cases which are asymptomatic also, and very few cases are severe illness. That is what the present scenario we have, in particularly in our nation, India. Now, let us understand the our responsibility. As all of you know, the importance of masking. There are three major aspects in the mask wearing, the proper wearing of mask with the respect to the self-care, which we can prevent with any of the infections, and equally, even if we are carriers, the carriers of the there is chance of getting carried with the asymptomatic or symptomatic existence. There is chance of spreading to others that can be effectively prevented with. That is again the social behavior. We need to prevent the spread by wearing mask, and of course, if you wear, that itself will influence others to wear also. This you are spreading the social awareness. I'm not going in detail with all these things, as you all know aware, but each and everything is very much relevant. That's why I am reminding you. And these are all WHO norms I am mentioning. The Our responsibilities is another, the part is social distancing. They have mentioned it as three C's: closed space, crowded space, and close contact of people we need to avoid. This is most integral part of social distancing. And next is our responsibilities. The other responsibilities like good hygiene is also equally important. Irrespective of all this care, if you carry some of the virus in your hand or some other of the part of the body, that need to be dropped there only by properly thoroughly cleaning your hands with an alcohol based hand rub, or wash them with soap or water. Of course, direct touching of eyes, nose and mouth should not be done. And covering mouth, that is again it is part of our social behavior. The covering nose with the bent elbow and tissue holding while coughing and sneezing. And irrespective of all this care, unfortunately, if the are getting infected, the three major steps here we need to consider, like with any suspicion of symptoms like cold, cough, or the no smell or fever or any of the symptoms, suspected symptom, um, stay home. Most important, stay isolated, even if you have minor symptoms such as cough, cold, fever, until you recover. And above this, next stage is if you have fever, cough, difficulty breathing is most important symptom, seek medical attention immediately. Call by telephone first if you can, and follow the directions of the local health or authority. And above all these things, keep up to date on the latest information from the trusted sources such as WHO or any local governing bodies, national health or authorities. You need to be aware of all this scenario. Accordingly, you have to manage. Now, slowly we move to the inside, the self protection. Shielding ourselves naturally is possible. Hmm? So we have a beautiful system in our body. It is called immune system, and it's a most integral part of our all the systems. It is a, of course, it is a involuntary system, and very strange part of is the human immune system is it is really really complex, a huge subject. It is a very vast science. It is, and the science also could not understand the whole immune system properly. Still it is struggling. And with respect to that, this immune system basic understanding we need to consider why it is so much important in this present scenario. And there are multiple systems in the body, but immune system is pervading throughout our body. You can't identify this particular part as a immune system like gastrointestinal system or cardiovascular system or any other systems. This immune system is starting from bone. There are a lot of lymphoid tissues and blood everywhere. It is pervading. It is a multidimensional aspect it has, and it is strongly connected to each and every system in our body. It's the most important part. And there is a beautiful mechanism called inflammatory mechanism begins in the immune system. It is the strong function of the immune system which starts most of our all the diseases, even this viral infection, even though it is a antibody antigen reaction starts with the finally the once the inflammation starts in that particular system, particularly in this COVID situation, the uh, most of the symptoms appear in our respiratory system only. This is a very gross understanding. There are, as you are seeing in the picture, there it is really complex thing. This is not the time to discuss the in detail of this one. Slowly we move to the understanding of immune system very grossly in the form of how exactly it works. The operation of immune system happens in three levels. First, it is a barrier. It makes it as a barrier, and that antigen entering the body. Example, wound healing. If there is a wound, the first and foremost thing challenge for the body is to getting infected. That itself will be preventing with our immune system. And next is irrespective of the immune system barrier, if the antigen, the example virus or bacteria, for example the COVID is a virus, if it enters, the immune system detects it and try to eliminate before it reproduce. This is also a huge important part of our immune system. And many times the dominates the antigen, if further dominates in the form of multiplication, again it starts to fight a lot to eliminate each and every virus in the body or bacteria in the body. This is also the next level of immune system functioning. Now, the immune system, as I told, it's a very strange and very complex system, and most of us common people, we don't know about the immune system is the connection between the mind and immune system. There is one emerging medical science, it is called psychoneuroimmunology, which explains the connection between the mind, the through the nervous system it operates the immune system. The stress and stress reaction, the mind if starts to get stressed or anxious or the speeded up, the it easily reflects in the form of multiple level the diseases. And the mind body reaction is strongly carried with the immune system. Gently, will very grossly we understand how the multiple system in the body will be reacting to our imbalanced mind. There is one nervous system called autonomic nervous system, and we don't have any control on that one. It happens by itself, and the there are two main parts of autonomic system, nervous system. They are called sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. As you are seeing in the picture, the once the sympathetic system becomes more, it once it surges up, there are multiple functions happen: dilating of pupil, the eye blurriness, everything you can experience, the inhibition of salivation, the dry mouth you will experience, relaxes bronchi, this one, the lungs will get the all the vessels will get dilated, accelerates heartbeat. The heartbeat will be more, inhibits peristalsis and secretion in the gastrointestinal tract, like the indigestion kind of thing. Although also will happen, liver also more glucose is formed, and adrenaline, the kidney above gland, that also will get stimulated, and inhibits the bladder contraction. For women, they will experience stimulation of the um, uh, genital system also. Um, the particularly uterine activity will be more. And the other way, the parasympathetic, completely opposite scenario it is. Here we need to understand, what we need to understand is the imbalance between sympathetic and parasympathetic will happen with the influence of the mind. The mind stress will imbalance these two systems, that will lead to the short time or long time diseases. So the balancing these two things is important, because a few of the things is quite interesting here. The increased activity of sympathetic nervous system, that will relaxes bronchi, I showed, because the lungs will get stimulated with sympathetic system to relax the bronchioles or airways, whereas sympathetic parasympathetic arousal will be make the constriction of airways. This is what we need to understand. The imbalance will be the sympathetic. A few of the systems in the body will get stimulated with sympathetic, and imbalance part of that parasympathetic also. The constriction happens in the airways in the form of asthma and other diseases. So majorly we need to understand imbalance of parasympathetic and sympathetic system, which leads to multiple disorders. Now let us understand what exactly the stress is. Stress is explained as a parabola in and x and y axis. The in the x-axis it is the stress level, and y-axis is the performance. Once this stress slowly starts to increase, the performance also will be reaching peak. Actually, we need to understand this. The stress, moderate stress, will be giving a high performance to us. We call it as U stress. What I mean to say is, stress is also not bad. The optimum level of stress, we call it as U stress, that is really good for us. That doesn't mean always we need to have that U stress also. We need to relax also. We have compensatory mechanism in the form of sleep and all, that it will get balanced. But this stress, if it continues further, slowly it will lead to the downward performance also, reaching the exhaustion, anxiety, the breakdown, everything. This is what is called a stress phenomena. And next is, irrespective of our effort, stress keeps continuing, means that it is called as a vicious cycle. It itself will weaken the immune system, and weaken the immune system, that itself will increase the stress. There is one there are multiple hormones also will be secreted once the immune system goes down, and the major hormone is called cortisols. They are also secreted more in the form of stress hormone, and that will make us worsen with the condition. See, these are all the list of short-term diseases and long-term diseases of stress. Nasal allergy, skin allergy, migraine, gastrointestinal upset, giddiness, blurred vision, acute infection in the form of viral or bacterial, psychiatric issues in the form of panic disorders, anxiety, depression, all those things are seen. Long-term diseases also, asthma, allergy, the nasal allergy, chronic allergies, dermatitis, varieties of skin diseases, including psoriasis, nervous system diseases like multiple sclerosis or muscular dystrophy, gut diseases in the form of inflammatory bowel disease, IBS also, which is strongly connected to again the mind part only, mind psycho somatic disease it is called, and rheumatological diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, systemic lupus erythematosus, and seronegative spondyloarthritis. All it's a big list of. It is just to mention to few of these things. And chronic infections also, HIV, tuberculosis, all these things are part of our immune system disturbance. Endocrine disorders, the diabetes, type 1 diabetes, thyroid disorders, multiple varieties of endocrine disorders, all are related to the strongly related to our immune system. Now, the understanding this, we need to manage the whole immune system more effectively in a multi-dimensional way. It is strongly connected to our immune system. The immune system is strongly connected to our lifestyle, in fact. The WHO guidelines says the management of immune system, physical fitness, the healthy diet, healthy parenting, and quitting all bad habits, and also mental health, it mentions. And as you know, there are multiple varieties of physical fitnesses like gym, aerobics, jogging, walking. And I highlight yogasana because it is more comprehensive than any of the. I'll come to that in my next slide. Most of the other physical things can be easily um, uh, can be overcome with the benefit of the yoga practices. And healthy diet, as you know, the food plate, as you are aware of, the vegetarian, non-vegetarian food, there is a strong debate. I'm not against a non-vegetarian. If you are non-vegetarian, you can have. Being vegetarian, be proud, and you can continue with the vegetarian only. Non-veg is not bad, but you have to be choosy with the healthy non-veg food, and it should be individually designed according to your need. You have to design the meal plate. And fasting, this is the most important part. The once in a while, if you fast, that itself will make a big immune booster. And parenting also, it is part of our immune system build up, because emotional part, it is strongly connected. The how we build up the children, and the interpersonal relation, all those things will be very important. As I mentioned, there are following trust with them, and then only you teach them, and then take trust. First you follow what you are supposed to do, and then only you teach, then take trust with them, and never compare the child with anybody. And they are very sponge about whatever we behave, whatever we talk, they will grasp like anything. Above all these things, the love is the most important. They also observe, they also catch this very easily, the children. And tobacco quitting, I need not mention a lot. The basic concept should be respect yourself. You have a beautiful gift in the by the nature, in the form of this healthy body, healthy mind, that you need to maintain. With respect to that, quitting all those things makes a very good program. The mental health, uh, the happiness should be always there. As I mentioned before, the searching for happiness should be our basic idea of managing our mental health. Openness, share and vent, and act instead of react, all of emotional part. Even positivity, always we need to be positive. I'll come to that quite in detail. And the strengthening the immune system, um, the proof is the present scenario, the death, recovery, and asymptomatics, whatever seeing in the global scenario. You can see the few of the countries, including India and the South Asian countries and even Japan, Australia, how the beautifully the scenario is different from other countries like most of the Western countries. The recovery rate, everything is astonishingly, it is different there. Hmm? We need to analyze that why it is happening. We need to understand their food style, their lifestyle, their activities, the mind, everything. With respect to that, we need to moderate with all those things. And with this idea, I am giving this few of the ideas of our lifestyle in the form of food, most important. Identify the junk and avoid, emphasizing what you are used to, and never miss major nutritions. And as you know, the importance of exercise, most important, the physical fitness. And the mind coming to again, the there are few enemies we need to identify. Fear is the main enemy in our mind. We need to eliminate and recognize the fear within. Most of the time, we are not able to recognize what exactly the fear is. Without recognizing that it keeps playing, we need to recognize it first. And most of the psychiatric disorders are strongly connected to our fear. We need to eliminate that fear. And reactive mind, this is more of emotional part, recognizing and uh, um, the challenge whatever we have. Before reacting, we need to recognize and analyze, and we need to drop it. Otherwise we'll be drained with. And next is the arrogance part also. It is not at all good to carry arrogance. And before losing our near and dear, we need to prevent it. And positive mind again, there are few glimpses of positive mind in the form of open mind. If your mind is open for any of the information, ideas, that makes a very good program. And the relaxing the mind by avoiding the junk thoughts, the unnecessary thoughts, whatever is not required, we need to eliminate. That is also makes our mind more positive. Emotions and moderating the emotion, we need to entertain, we should not entertain a lot, that itself will make vulnerable easily. And happiness should be always our quest. And believe in giving, it is also quite important. The charity what we do, that is best solace for our soul and immune system also. That reminds me, you people are conducting this the BDC, it is a wonderful program. I wholeheartedly appreciate that particular program. And the mind management, the yoga mentions there are five status of our mind. The first, the status is called Muda, or dull or donkey mind, we call it as. Next, the status is called Vikshipta, that is restless mind, we call it as monkey mind. And next, another the status is called Kshipta, or occasionally steady, we call it as butterfly mind. Next is called Ekagrata, concentrated mind. And Niruddha, controlled mind. So, in particularly, the presently we need to focus more on this Kshipta and Ekagrata, the occasional and steady mind and concentration, that makes you a very good program. There are multiple techniques in yoga. It helps to moderate with the extremes of our thoughts to manage effectively our mind. And next is yoga practice. Many people, we are all having some inhibition towards practicing yoga. One thing is the painful practice. Oh, it is a very difficult, tough one, and all those things. Another thing is it is boring. It is not a trend like gym or any other aerobics or anything. It's not a trend. So it is not actually. Once you understand the, it becomes a very beautiful practice, and definitely you will be enjoying. So understand the need of the mind. See, each individual is totally different. Accordingly, we need to design the practice, and we need to consider. It is not a single set of practices, everybody practicing the same thing. So, and the never compare yourself and before starting practicing yoga, and I'm not a stretchable person, I am not able to practice, all those things are very lame reasons. Definitely we need to get away from that. Self-respecting and accordingly approach the practice, that makes a very good program. And once you start the practice, it is a progressive phenomena. You are enjoying each and every day. That is the best part of yoga practice. So there are two balancing factors I'll be mentioning. One is mind and body. There is a balancing factor is a speed, we call it as the mind speed and body speed. We need to balance. The mind speed is nothing but stress. Reduce the speed, discard the junk thoughts and contain the emotions. Body, increase the activity, maintain the fitness, have control on. With that, beautifully you are balancing the mind. Now the balancing the body. And another factor is the balancing of mind. And mind is the core thing. Mind and food is also important. As we discussed before, the mind, before you eat what exactly what you are supposed to eat, you have to analyze, and accordingly you have to eat it. And feeding your mind with the positivity, this also makes a good program. And even though our whole aim is to manage the good positive health, it is not the whole purpose of our life. There are a lot of achievements we can do. You are seeing genius people like Einstein or Stephen Hawking or whoever it is. If you really understand their lifestyle, it is precisely the yoga what, even though they are not practicing asanas or pranayamas or anything, the whole gist of yoga they are following precisely. That is what the we are seeing actually. So the understanding the importance of mind and body and breath. So if you really move further from positive health, you can lead to very good superhuman level also we can reach. It is possible. Effectively we can achieve with the practice of yoga. So this is the best part of inner peace, which we can be effectively gain with the practice of yoga. So preventing most of the lifestyle disorders. Success is nature's order, not expecting. This is what the mind status will be. We won't expect anything. We keep our effort, and the fruit of the our effort will fall on our lap easily. That is what nature's order is. And you are independent. You are not depending on anybody. That's the best part. And calm, composed in the mind, irrespective of our challenges. And the booming energy what we have with the practice of yoga, that we are experiencing each and every moment. So this is what I wanted to share with you. And all these things are very basic and very ground information I'm sharing with you. Each and every point has a lot of information further, very in-depth the knowledge we can gain with the understanding more. And that's all from my side. And now we switch on to the Q&A. Thank you one and all. Hello.
Yes, so everyone, whoever has any questions can please unmute your mic and ask.
So this is Shraddha.
Yes,
I have
Shraddha.
a question. So due to lockdown, we all are staying at home, and by this
Shraddha, your voice
problem of
is
obesity.
breaking. I'm not able to hear. Hello.
Hello.
You are not clear. I'm not able to hear you properly.
Okay. So
Yes,
can you
tell
hear
me.
now?
It's better now.
So due to lockdown, we all are staying at home. So the problem of obesity is increasing.
Hmm.
So can you suggest us some type of diet or yoga exercises?
Definitely. As I mentioned before, so all should be individually designed. We need to understand the body constitution and the your lifestyle details. With that, definitely it is purely individual, Shraddha. We can't generalize it. Of course, the general guidelines are there. They're increasing your physical activity, some disciplined activity, start with walking. Yoga is much better option. And balanced food, right eating, avoiding all the junks. This is the common guidelines as I mentioned in the slides before. And above all these things, if you are not able to manage effectively, you need to consult the doctor, and you need to get designed with the particular set of the diet regimen and the physical activity also. Hmm? Hello.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sure. Hello.
Sir, this is Megha. I had a question, sir.
Okay.
Sir, how can we practice yoga effectively without stopping in the middle, sir? And each day, like, how much time should we give for practicing yoga?
Okay. Yeah. Yoga. Uh, as I mentioned, it is part of our life, and it should be practiced throughout. It is more than should be practiced. You'll be enjoying practicing every day if you are doing it properly. So ideally, 1 hour of practice will be very good practice, which comprises the physical practices, breathing techniques, and some mind related in the form of relaxation or meditation. 1 hour of practice, particularly for the people like you, the students, will be ideal, where you need to manage multiple things. 1 hour practice is very good practice. Ideally, it should be practiced in either sunrise time or sunset time. And if you are practicing very regularly, as I mentioned, it is a progressive phenomenon. You will be enjoying every day, and that itself will influence your most of your other activities in the routine.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, sure. Hello.
Sir, this is Girimalaya, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in ancient days, they used to have full meals in the morning and half of that in afternoon and little bit in night, sir. But in
Okay.
modern days, we are having breakfast a little bit and more in lunch, and we used to have special and full meals in dinner, sir.
Correct.
Which way is better to have, sir, a healthy diet? Which is a healthy diet, sir?
Yes, you're
Eat
right.
healthy
So
food,
the
bro.
definitely, it is the ancient diet is the better option. As you mentioned, it is not exactly the three meal the ancient people are eating. The present trend you may be aware of that intermittent fasting they call it as, that is exactly we are following in ancient days. By around 11:30 we'll be having one meal, and by 7:30 we'll be finishing the second meal. Those two meals will be enough for me. There is one beautiful saying in our Kannada language. If you eat three times, you will become sick. The two times meals will make us the healthy, and one time meal he will be purely a yoga practitioner. They call it as. So with this understanding, the two meals will be ideal. If it is really required, you can make it the night food little lighter, having the proper breakfast and lunch. Night food, if you make it a very fiber rich food in the form of the salad, sprouts and fruits, that will be we can manage a very effective healthy status.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Sir, sir, this is Agilan. So you told about Einstein having he
Correct.
followed some basic yoga techniques. So can you just elaborate on that?
No, you see, he didn't follow the whatever the typically what we teach in the yoga. What his lifestyle, understanding his lifestyle is important. That all beautifully you can see in the practice of yoga. That's what I mean. Hmm? Even though he didn't practice, as I mentioned earlier also, he didn't practice asanas or the pranayamas or all those things. These asanas or pranayamas or any meditations, if you practice, the whole the gain will be we are lessening our mind thoughts. With that, we can explore lot of energy. That is what precisely he did with some other measures. Of course, he's a born genius, and more than born genius, he explored his genius in his mid of the days. Even Einstein also, Stephen Hawking also. So what they did is they eliminated the junks in their mind. The whatever unnecessary thoughts in the mind, unnecessary uncontrolled thoughts, all those things they managed more effectively. With that, they explored their mind energy. This is what precisely we do with the yoga techniques. So that's what I mean. You got my point?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Very
Yes.
good evening, sir.
Good evening.
This is Mahima Karant. The
Ah,
session was very good and helpful. I
okay.
just wanted to know, like, as you said, mental health is very important. And
Yeah.
I've recently I've come across a word called Vipassana.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it
Yes.
correctly.
Yes. You are right. You are right. Vipassana.
Probably like it will not be possible for everyone to go through that thing in their life.
Mm. Mm.
So, is there any way where we are staying with our own people? Can we practice that kind of a thing?
Definitely, Vipassana is a exclusive meditation program. We will be morning to night. You will be totally following the silence and uh, the core meditation practice and all those things. We are totally shunning away with all our activities. The present day, we need to maintain the flow of our the routine with health and our challenges that can be effectively managed with the uh, practices, the yoga practices itself, the asanas, pranayamas, and some relaxation techniques. If you practice regularly, as I mentioned, if it is a regular program and a progressive phenomena, definitely we can effectively maintain our physical and mental health. So regular practice and continuous growth in the practice is the key in practicing yoga. It's not just mechanically we are doing. Every day we will be progressed with each and every practices.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank
Okay.
you very much.
Okay, sure.
Sir,
Yes.
yeah, we have some questions in the chat box, so I'll just be reading it out and you can
Yes.
answer it as
Yeah.
possible.
Tell.
Okay, so first question we have is from Anurag Pillai. He's asking, in intermittent fasting, there are multiple types like 16 by 8, 5 is to 2, alternate, etc. Which one do you think is the best option?
So ideal will be, and it is less challenging will be 8 hours window food. Like if you eat ideally by 10 or 11, next food will be 6 or 7 evening. That is the most accepted and easily can be managed. Other things are quite difficult. In between, you will get hunger, you will get disturbed, and some irritation. Everything it is possible with this 8 hour window, moderately we can manage effectively. That is ideal thing. I personally advise 8 hours window intermittent fasting.
Okay, thank you, sir. So there's
Yeah.
another question from Demant CS. So he's asking, sir, how can we strengthen our mind to deal with stress effectively?
Okay, so there are two parts: lessening our mind speed, the lessening the stress by some techniques. As I mentioned, yoga is the best technique to de-stress your mind, and start some yoga, some physical activities and yoga practices. See, once you start physical activity, that itself will make our mind little bit comfort zone. The one of the as I mentioned in one of the slides, that one of the health definition is balance between mind and body is the precise health. What exactly the balancing factor is? The stress, the speed. The stress is nothing but speed in the mind. If you slow down, that itself will make a very good program. Simultaneously, you have to speed up your body also, increasing the body speed by various techniques, a discipline program in the form of the yoga practices or the other physical practices also fine. what happens is lot of hormones, positive hormones in the brain will be rushed, that makes you more comfortable, and that itself will curb our lot of day-to-day stresses also. Simultaneously, you have to slow down the mind by practicing some pranayamas and meditation. That makes a very good program.
Okay, so we have quite a few questions. Another
Yes.
question is from Nidhi Kashyap. So she is
Okay.
asking, they say we need to consume as many grams of protein according to how much we weigh in kgs. But in
Okay.
vegetarian diet, we usually don't get enough protein. Are there any alternatives or foods for this?
Definitely. I am the living example of a healthy vegetarian person. Effectively we can manage. There are multiple things. Emphasize more on pulses and the even some dairies. If you are okay, if you are vegan, definitely you can't take all these dairy products. Otherwise, dairy products have a good number of protein supplement. The paneer is also heavy with the protein, and even the soya protein. There are even for if you are not comfortable with the dairy products, there are other the peanut butter. All those things are rich of protein. We need not go for the non-vegetarian for just for protein supplement. Emphasize more on protein-rich food. There are, as I mentioned, the pulses, the dairy, or even soya. All these things are very rich of protein.
Okay,
Yes.
so we have another question from Abhishek Gorka. So he's asking, Sir,
Mm,
whenever we talk about yoga asanas, it
mm.
comes to our mind, but we know that by definition also, yoga is union of our soul with the universal soul. Sir, can you throw light on yoga beyond asanas?
Appreciate this question. I call it as a $1 million question. So, see, even though we spend a lot in a standard 1 hour of practice of physical practices, the physical practices are ending with training our mind only. Believe it or not, it is the very strange of the yoga physical practices. The physical practices what we are doing, as I just mentioned before, the once we increase the physical activity, that itself will give very good mood to our mind, the positivity in the mind that you can experience immediately. 1 or 2 days only practice only you can experience. That is the beginning of your the mind training, and that keeps further growing and growing, and further you will end up with training your mind only. That is the best part of the physical practice. As you rightly mentioned, yoga is nothing but controlling our mind thoughts. Yoga, there are three predominant definitions of yoga. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha, that is lessening our mind thoughts. Yoga mana prashavanopaya, that is the lessening the calming down our mind. And samatvam yoga muchyate, the equanimity or balance in the mind is called yoga. All this effectively will be started with the practice of the physical practices. As you know, physical practice, even though it is an integral part of yoga, that is not complete yoga. The pranayamas and meditations, all those things will end up with the completing the comprehensively managing our mind. And yoga is an inner journey. It starts from the gross level in the form of physical practice, intermediate level in the form of pranayamas, and it will end up with the actual mind practice of multiple meditation and other relaxations. So the beginning of your mental training will happen with the physical practice. Ideally, we call the physical practices as we are using the physical part as the tool to train our mind. This is what the basic thing. So physical practices definitely leads to training our mind in the form of we are operating the body as a tool to train our mind. Hope you got the answer.
Okay, yeah. So there's another question from Pooja
Yeah.
HM. So
Okay.
she's asking which yoga is good for backbone pain.
There are multiple set of practices, important, very effective practices. Uh, The yoga practices, for specific practices, you need to consider two things. One is you need to emphasize on few practices. Another important, equally important part is you need to avoid a few of the practices. In back pain, you need to understand more what we are not supposed to do. The forward bending and some brisk breathing, Kapalabhati, Bhastrika, all those things you need to avoid. And back strengthening programs, there are multiple practices. To mention few, the Bhujangasana practice, or simple Ardha Chakrasana practice, and even Trikonasana practice, all those things will definitely will help. These are all very gross information I'm sharing, because back pain itself is a condition. We don't know what type of back pain is. There are multiple reasons for the back pain, starting from simple muscle spasm, the disc prolapse, and multiple things, spondylitis, multiple things. Each and every the situations need different practices only. So it will be totally individual again. So accordingly, we need to uh, prescribe. The doctors will prescribe. The yoga teachers will prescribe what exactly it is required. Yes.
Okay, so the next question is from Anaga Bharadwaj. So she's
Hmm.
asking, there are many chakras in our body. So are
Hmm.
there different yogasanas to heal different type of chakras?
Yes, the chakras, we are operating in a different level. We begin with the physical practices only. The different, there are varieties of asanas that will trigger our energy, the levels in different chakras, and even pranayamas also will help. And to the core, the mind itself is the main part in operating the different chakras. With respect to that, all those things will help only. The physical practices, pranayamas, and mind practices, the meditation itself. Yes.
Okay, so before we go to the next question, I'd just like to tell whoever is attending the webinar that Sir has another commitment after this, so we'll only be taking these many questions in the chat box. If you have any more questions, you can always contact him. We'll leave the contact details below. Okay. Yeah. So the next question is from Samarth CS. Are there any Ayurveda techniques we can implement at home to improve our immunity?
Yes, there are multiple. So the old grandma prescription is much appreciated, remedy. Like there are multiple spices you can see in the kitchen box. The turmeric is the best thing. Add a pinch of turmeric in the glass of warm milk. Have it in the night. That is a good habit. And typical the kashayas, what we call it as that decoctions, the prepared with the pepper or ginger, all these things are very much helpful. And if you really keen on individually designed, definitely that also that is what we believe in. So each and every, in both in Ayurveda and yoga, we believe in individually treating by knowing their constitution. These are all mentioned are a very basic thing, general kind of thing. The individually, if you are specifically you want, you can consult the Ayurveda doctors. They will give. Yes.
Okay, so the next question is from Sindhu. So she's
Okay.
saying it was an amazing session. Thank you, sir. So while doing yoga, we are asked to concentrate on a point, but I'm unable to do so. A lot of thoughts flush my brain while doing yoga. Any suggestions how to channelize my thoughts and control them?
Perfect. So this is each and every person's experience for this one. The whole practice is to reduce that chattering mind, the uncontrolled thoughts and the running mind. Only the practice, the key is practice. One or two sessions practicing and no, I am not able to do, giving up, all those things won't happen. And the yoga practice needs a lot of patience, basically. Keep practicing consistently without giving up. Make a determined the decision in your mind that I am going to get the benefit of yoga with this foundation in the mind. If you start every day, slowly you are tasting the yoga. Definitely you can taste the effectiveness of yoga also, and all the running mind, the chattering mind, everything you can contain further only by practice. There is a beautiful saying in Bhagavad Gita also regarding this yoga practice. um, Shanaihi Shanaihi Uparamet Buddhyadati Grahitaya. That is, slowly, you have to calm down, relax, and then practice. Definitely, even though if you are doing the physical practices, the mind, you have to calm down effectively by giving some auto suggestions to yourself by relaxing. Relax is should be the key. Even though you do a lot of stimulation to body, the mind should be relaxed. That is what the ideal way of practicing. Yes.
Okay, so the next question is Abhishek Gorka again. So he's asking
Hmm?
how tamasic food is a hindrance in the journey of yoga.
Yes, tamasic is should be avoided in practicing yoga. That will hamper our mind thoughts. That is what the yoga scriptures also mentions, and it is also experienced. So tamasic makes us dull, totally dull. As I mentioned in one of the slides, that the mudha vritti, that is a dull mind, what we have without any the energy in the mind and body, that easily influences that state. Will be get easily influenced with the tamasic food. It is always better to avoid. Yes.
Okay, so the next question is from Arpita KM. She's asking, how can I gain weight? Are there any asanas to gain weight, sir?
I don't suggest to gain weight. If you want to build up muscle, I appreciate that is the right way of gaining the normal health. The less weight or more weight, that can be moderated with the gaining the muscles. The if you gain weight with the eating junks and all those things, and further accumulation of fat, definitely it is not at all good. So to gain the muscle mass, definitely there are certain medications. Again, it is individually designed, and there are certain practices to tone up the muscles. All those things are possible. And if you are mind the body mass index is normal, you need not worry about gaining weight. If your health is more important. Yes.
Okay, so this is the last question for today.
Okay.
So there's no name. Okay, so
Yes.
he or she is asking, is there any yogasana for getting better concentration during online classes?
Okay, there are each and every asanas help. As I mentioned, the each and every asanas will help in gaining the concentration only. The training starts with the physical part, and what I suggest is start practice all this most integral part of the yogas. That is the asanas, the pranayamas, and even meditation. All those things makes a very good comprehensive program, and definitely you can get more concentration. Any of the asanas, if you practice, that will end up training your mind only, as I mentioned. And without fail practice the pranayama and the meditation also, that makes a complete program, and definitely you will get more concentration.
Okay, guys, whoever has asked the other questions, we're really sorry. We don't have the time for this now. Sir has another commitment. We have left the mail ID in the chat box. You can always contact him through that. So, Shraddha will now be proposing the vote of thanks. Shraddha?
Honorable NSS Officer Dr. Puttaboregowda Sir, our most valued guest Dr. Gopinath K Upadhyaya, students and faculties, it is my privilege to have been asked to propose the vote of thanks. I, on behalf of the National Service Scheme and the entire staff and students of RIT, extend our gratitude to the speaker for gracing us with your important work and sharing your knowledge and opinions today. Thank you, sir. A very big thank you to Dr. Gopinath for his efforts in highlighting the importance of yoga and Ayurveda in our life, also in making us aware of our responsibilities as a youth. and letting us know about how a little eustress motivates us to do good work. We also learned how to improve our immunity. Your insights on a positive and healthy mind encourage us to cultivate one. We are all inspired by your great words. Thank you, sir. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our hearty thanks to our NSS officers for supporting and encouraging us always. I also extend my thanks to my team members, our ex-core, and our seniors for the enormous contribution in making this event happen. Extending a heartfelt thanks to our audience for being such patient listeners and interacting with us. I would like to conclude with a quote. Don't wait until you have reached your goal to be proud of yourself. Be proud of every step that you take to achieve it. So let us mark this as the beginning of achieving a healthy lifestyle. Thank you, one and all, and have a great day ahead. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you. Thank
Raghav,
you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
for to this.
It was a pleasant session. Thank you very much.